Hi guys, how you doing? Uncle Bob here, once again with another video, and today we're going to be doing a cool review of the most recent Alien movie, which is the Alien Romulus movie, which came out in about August, I believe it was. Uh, didn't catch us at the cinema. I did plan on going, but yeah, just like most things, I just didn't get around to it, and then I just waited for it on DVD. Yeah, but I really wanted to go and see it. I did see Deadpool and Wolverine, but this yeah, just didn't have the time, and yeah, just missed it. But yes, the latest one. I'm not sure when the last one was. The last one 2017 or I'm not sure. Quite a while, isn't it, since the last one? Alien Covenant, wasn't it? The previous one. This is the ninth overall in starring the Alien. Uh, yeah, it's the ninth movie overall. Obviously, we've got the AVP ones, but do count them as Alien films. So yeah, been quite a while, and I think there was a lot of excitement going on. I think I was excited about getting a new Alien film. I think it's not sometimes, not always. Maybe Covenant wasn't exciting, but I think Prometheus was quite interesting. I thought it was quite interesting actually, knowing the backstory, because it took you back to knowing about how the aliens actually become aliens. And yeah, that I thought was quite interesting. Maybe Covenant wasn't as interesting, but I think Prometheus was quite interesting. Uh, yeah, so yeah, this is the latest one. Now, it stars quite a few young actors in this, which are quite well, not I've not a lot of knowledge of, not seen them in any other movies or not that I can recall. A lot of the young actors. Um, yeah, so it's got a lot of young actors in it that I'm not too familiar with. However, it does have Ian Holm in it, which obviously he's sadly no longer with us, but he's in it via CGI and archive footage. So that is pretty awesome having him in it via that. So that is very, very cool that he's in it. Yeah, so that is very cool that he's in it. Sadly, no Sigourney Weaver, which I was hoping would be in somewhere in it, which would have made it really, really awesome. Or some other characters from some of the old films, maybe not just Ian Holm, but maybe Sigourney Weaver, maybe someone else, because I think that would have made it a lot stronger. Because I think the cast, in terms of, right, it's got Ian Holm, but uh, you know, relying on a young cast was a bit much for something as this. So I think they sort of needed. Well, it's fair enough having a few young actors, but I think they needed something else. Sigourney Weaver and a few other bigger names just to give it a bit more support. I mean, the young actors in it are all right, to be fair, not too bad. I wouldn't say great, but they're all right. The main lead, sort of like playing the sort of Ripley role to this, and she does all right, to be honest. She's all right. Not sure she's Sigourney Weaver's caliber yet, but yeah, does all right. And yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, so the cast is fairly weak, other than Ian Holm. But yeah, now getting to the plot, which is very, very quite tricky to. It's quite complicated. basically, it's set obviously in the uh, not too distant future, but it's basically set basically after the events of the first Alien, which was obviously 1979, but this is in the future. So obviously, it was in 79, but it was way into the future, and this is set into the future as well. And so basically, set. What they did was they went back to do it setting after the sort of events of the, because obviously in the old Alien you saw Alien and then Aliens, but in this they decided to do another film that was in between Alien and Aliens. So this is sort of set after the events of 79, and which is quite cool actually. And basically they a group of young a young group of people, set out in space, and then they come across the wreckage, or they come across the actual spaceship. I don't know. It's wrecked, but it's still in space, and they come across it, which obviously the ship from the first movie, and yeah. So basically, the events have happened at the first, and they discover the ship, and yeah, they decide to go, and they don't know what they're going to come across. And little do they know, when they get aboard it, they come across and find, they come across all the things and the events that have happened in the first movie. So they see all, they come across all the stuff that's happened in the events of the first one, with all the stuff with Ash having a malfunction and going crazy, and then ended up getting killed, and attacking the crew. And then obviously they come across all the bodies, all the victims of which the first alien killed. So then they discover all the bodies and that, and obviously all the damage on the ship. And yeah, so they come across all that, which is really, really good actually. We'll come to that in a minute. So yeah, so they're discovering all the events, which is set basically after the events of that, and then they discover the ship, come aboard it, and then find out what's just gone on previously. And yeah, so I think it's basically to do with the setting up the events for the next one. So they did the first one, and they did this like sort of set just after, and it's supposed to be setting up sort of future events for the next Aliens. So it's quite an interesting plot. I wasn't too keen on the idea, but actually it was actually quite a good idea. And yeah, so that is basically the plot. Yeah. So, uh, yeah. So let's talk about what is good and what is bad about it. I think there's more good news than sort of bad, really. More positives than negatives on this actually, and surprisingly, fairly quite good. Because I wasn't too sure. I was sort of a bit, because a lot of these films, sometimes they're going to be, obviously the old classics are fantastic. Aliens, but some of the ones that sort of later, I mean, Prometheus I thought was interesting, but maybe not people said it weren't as good, maybe carrying on a bit boring. Some of them saying, Alien Resurrection was good. I thought Alien Resurrection was quite good. It's a good film to watch on a Saturday, and I actually quite like Resurrection. And it might not be as strong as the others, first couple, but I think Alien Resurrection is quite a fun and enjoyable movie. Yeah, and I said, a lot of these films that come out years later, sometimes are not always good, and sometimes they don't always deliver. But I think on this occasion, I think it's done the majority. And yeah, I think I mean, for the first half an hour, it's fairly boring, I must admit. And I was sort of like yawning a bit, and I was like, oh, come on, let's get this going and something interesting. And I wasn't sort of getting that at the beginning. Um, I was sort of getting sort of just like boring talking, and I wasn't really uh, interested as much. Um, yeah, so then for the first half an hour, I was like, is this going to be really good, or is it going to be like quite boring and uh, you know, not great? But then after the first half an hour, it started to sort of get a bit more interesting because they discover the ship from after the events of the first film, and then once they get aboard, then it all starts becoming quite enjoyable. Because they discover that they see ash on the floor after the events of the first, then they discover all the like wreckage and damage, then they discover the victims, and then they discover, and then there's some facehuggers that start to attack, and then it all just kicks off, and then it's all just carnage, and yeah, it's just from then on in, for the first after the first half an hour, it's quite boring. It all starts to just, yeah, it will sort of get fun. It's enjoyable. It's interesting, and yeah, it's all just go from there. They don't mess around. After the first half an hour, they certainly don't mess around. The facehuggers attack. It's all carnage, and then they reactivate Ash and find out what's been going on. Then some alien xenomorphs come, and yeah, then it's just all loads of action, loads of good stuff going on, and yeah, and it just keeps you sort of, once that all starts, it keeps you interested, and you're like, oh, this is really, really good. I want to see what's happening next, what else is going to happen, and yeah, it really gets you hooked. Once it's, I'd say, half an hour in, 45 minutes in, yeah, it's really gets you hooked, and you want to see what's happening, and you really get into it, which is good. Um, and yeah, and then it's pretty good from then on in. Once I arrive on this ship, there's everything's going on and happening, and then it's just all go and good from there. And a lot of good things happening after that. And yeah, and it all looks pretty good from then in. A lot of good stuff. There's a few kills in there. And yeah, I think it's pretty good, to be honest. All good. As I said, apart from the first half an hour. Um, yeah, apart from the first half an hour, it's a bit dull. But then after that first half an hour, once it's in, once they get to the ship and you discover all the things, then you're like, oh, look at this. This is fantastic, and what a great idea it was to do that. Yeah, and it's just really, really good after that. And I'm definitely gonna, this is after seeing that, because sometimes I see these films, and they're not as good as the old ones, and I think, don't really fancy watching that again. But on this occasion, yeah, I really, really want to see this again, and I'll be seeing it a few times. So yeah, I'll probably watch this again, like maybe Christmas Day or Boxing Day maybe, and sit and enjoy it